Halo 3 is my favorite game of all time. Halo CE and Halo 2 were a little before my prime gamer time. I was either sucking pacifiers or still in my handheld gaming, Pokemon obsessed gamer phase, a little too young to don the digital Mjolnir armor. Halo 3 though, for me and for so many gamers around the world, was the golden age of our gaming careers. Halo 3's majestic brilliance deserves its own video, but for the sake of providing context, I'm gonna give you a little TLDR about the peak of Halo. Halo 3 was a colossal cultural juggernaut of a game. Master Chief and the boys properly helped propel gaming into the mainstream with the finale of this iconic original Halo trilogy. Hell, this was the first video game I had ever seen advertised on a double-decker bus. Halo 3 became the highest grossing game in the first 24 hours of its release, and it was only releasing on one console, baby. Bruh. Bungie's biggest flex was the fact that studio executives were convinced Halo 3 would tank box office sales. We are talking a 27% actual drop in movie ticket sales after Halo 3 released. Oh, and the review scores? Let's hit it with a 94 average, slap on that universal acclaim, Metacritic. Halo 3 was part of the pinnacle of what seems like the golden age of gaming. Halo 3 is the quintessential shooter full package. A legendarily satisfying single-player finale to an iconic trilogy, an all-encompassing multiplayer suite that provided casual and hardcore sweaty fun. Yeah, Bungie nailed the single-player and multiplayer modes, but oh wait, you thought that was it? How about a Forge mode out of nowhere? How's about a Minecraft before Minecraft in an FPS to boot? You thought that was it? Psych, let's add a theater mode so that you can make your very own Halo 3 machinima, sweet youngling.
Hello there.
Bruh, this game had everything. Nowadays, every mainstream game community always devolves into toxicity, but no, not Halo. Me and the boys on Bungie.net only cared about the good times. Bungie then flipped the script with ODST. They synthesized the iconic Halo gameplay loop, slapped on some sultry city jazz, took away the 7-foot super soldier power fantasy, and made you an orbital drop shock stud. The creme de la creme of that surprise expansion was Firefight, a personal favorite mode of mine, perfect for bonding with the boys. Innovation after innovation. Halo CE revolutionized console FPSs, Halo 2 brought console online services to the masses, Halo 3 perfected the formula, ODST was the cherry on top, and then came Reach. Reach was the swan song for Bungie. The inevitable fall of Reach perfectly metaphored Bungie's bittersweet goodbye. While still fun, this game definitely had its flaws. You see, while it improved on customization, Forge and custom games in particular, Reach definitely saw Halo veer farther into becoming a diluted casual Call of Duty clone. Loadouts and armor abilities weren't exactly pure dubs for Bungie. Firefight was also sneaky terrible since they pulled the good old add depth not by making the core loop more complex, but by adding more annoying shit to do. I think we all kind of forgave Reach's missteps because conceptually Reach was an offshoot, a side game, and there was an expectation that its missteps wouldn't carry forward onto the main games. Fundamentally, it still had the heart, the emotively powerful campaign, the loving community, and overall package that made Halo so iconic and beloved. This is where we reach the true turning point in the story. Bungie pulled a Sasuke, and in search of more freedom to make their own games, in search of power, they sought a new master. Unfortunately for them, their new master, Activision, turned out to be worse than Microsoft, and when they were finally free, Bungie had become the villain they sought to destroy. Honestly, it's some pretty sad shit, but maybe it was their destiny. Let's not act like Microsoft were the heroic Narutos of this story. They wanted to lock Bungie in the basement and continually pump out baby Halos till Kingdom Come. The analogy is more like Sasuke leaving Orochimaru to join an even more evil Orochimaru. Microsoft could not just let the Halo cash cow die though. Master Chief told the boys at HQ to wake him when they needed him, but I guess selling Xbox Ones is now an intergalactic priority. Let my man John 117 sleep, Bill. 343 were the inheritors of the mantle, and their first game was Halo 4. What a piece of shit it is. Every now and then I'll see a revisionist video arguing that Halo 4's campaign was actually really good. Nah G, quit playing por favor. I think 343 made the prudent decision to try and humanize Master Chief, and the writing for Chief was actually pretty well executed. Seeing Master Chief, the human weapon himself, despair at the inevitable death of his digital mother/girlfriend, well shit, we've all been there, John. Aside from the MC though, good lord, every new side character they have introduced is so annoying. The MC has literally saved the entire universe like 3 times, and everyone except for Lasky gives him so much lip. Bruh. Show some gratefulness for literally still existing. And then there's the Didact. What? My man is quite literally the fusion heart of a foreskin and Chicken Little with a side dish of copious amounts of testosterone. 343 out of nowhere dips so heavily into Halo's extended lore in certain parts of 4's storyline. It's so confusing. At times, it feels like 343 is just name dropping to flex how much they know about Halo. Easy, Tiger. Most importantly though, the iconic Halo 20-second loop, the sandbox action, is properly broken. Remember how Reach dipped into diluted Call of Duty gunplay? Yeah, 343 built on that false legacy. Instead of reworking and properly integrating armor abilities so that they truly fit Halo, they just added the Byakugan. They scrapped weapon spawns in favor of expanded loadouts and half-baked specializations or perks. Halo 4's action is so poor. Halo 4's multiplayer thus suffered the most. Ordnance drops, terrible map design, a limited and diluted sandbox, the community shrank thanks to Halo 4's piss poor multiplayer offering. Damn, I hate this game. Everything from the gunplay, to the fonts, to the customization options, 343 did not leave a good first impression. Let's talk about Coke real quick. In 1985, after slowly declining in market share, the suits at Coca-Cola decided to create an entirely new formula. They performed countless taste tests to create something that would get back that precious market share. When New Coke was released, all the loyal Coke drinkers were disgusted. Their loyalty and love for Coke was spat on by this so-called new formula. Seeing Halo 4's gameplay, it's clear that 343 was so focused on creating a mass market Halo that they really lost the true Halo gamers, quite a large number on their own. A key point to bring up is the fact that the trilogy ended with a proper feeling of finality. Just like Gears, Halo's story was complete and satisfying. With a chance to soft reboot and potentially reinvent the wheel though, both series pulled a Disney Star Wars and tried retreading old steps but with new, more E-for-everyone boots. I swear, there is a Microsoft template on how to kill franchises because like Gears, Halo introduced a brand spanking new enemy, a robotic T-for-teen friendly, non-bleeding, boring to shoot cyber foe. Dude, I hate the Prometheans. No one likes the goddamn Prometheans. Their clanky bodies aren't as satisfying to BR headshot as a grunt or a brute. All the personality that the Covenant imbued battles, the calling you a heretic, the birthday party headshot pops, the Geox jetpacks, all of that is lost with the Prometheans. Beyond their lack of swag, mechanically the Prometheans are just not fun to fight. Their cybernetic leaps around the battlefield are flat out annoying. The brilliance of the Covenant was the way in which their battlefield charisma also contributed to mechanical variety. Skinny jackal cowards sat back and sniped you and represented a metaphor for male fragility. Suicide grunts blew up in your face and represented a metaphor for religious fanaticism. Angry brutes would charge and try and banish you, little boy, representing a metaphor for toxic manhood. Prometheans teleport around annoyingly, representing a metaphor for bad game design. The new Promethean weapons too are just reskins. Especially in 4, they literally add nothing and only dilute the sandbox. In the OG Halos there was beauty and balance. Human weapons for health, Covenant weapons for shields. Promethean weapons are literally just yellow and shiny. The design philosophy clearly valued style over substance when the OG Halos proved that style could be substance. Halo MCC was the perfect way to regain the Halo fanbase's trust and should have been a triumphant celebration of Halo to kickstart the Xbox One's life cycle. But what an absolute disaster it turned out. The game was just straight up unplayable online, and for whatever reason they just didn't include ODST or Reach. Why? Sure, the Master Chief Collection is a cool name, but not that cool. there really isn't much to say except what the fuck 343? Now we reach the Halo 5 part of the story. Where to begin? The misleading ad campaigns, the bare bones mode selection, lack of Forge, and dreadful custom games options at launch? How about we start at the campaign? I blitzed through the campaign at launch, and I forced myself to love it, but in my heart of hearts, I knew I was living a lie. The story is awful, seriously dog. As quickly as they introduced the concept of humanizing the MC, they dropped that in 5. Seriously, Master Chief and his supposed best friends forever, the Blue Team, do not interact outside of the contrived plot points 343 thrust them into. 343 instead focused their storytelling talents on the bold beauty, Luke Cage. Somehow, Spartan Locke has less personality than the rookie from ODST. That's the same rookie that literally doesn't have a single line in his entire campaign. 343 also basically scrapped every side character that they introduced in 4. Unfortunately, they just palette swapped in equally boring Spartans. Other YouTubers have truly ripped apart 5's story, so I won't go on and on, but basically it's full of plot holes, character inconsistencies, a strange lack of stakes, and is just overall a narrative consisting of random non sequiturs slapped together. A big fault is again this strange reliance on extended lore. Key narrative arcs in 4 and 5 require knowledge of significant expanses of Halo lore not present in the actual games. Books, comics, all that jazz. Is this 343 negging the Halo faithful into buying Halo merch? Link in bio? Potentially. Regardless of their unknown corporate tactics though, it makes their stories in 4 and 5 disjointed and jarring. It's equally confusing how 343 will just flat out disregard or sneakily retcon key parts of Halo lore. 343 really be acting tsundere over the Halo extended universe. For example, 343's explanation for Master Chief's new armor design is that nanomachines improved it during his cryo sleep. Oh, I see, it was the nanomachines, of course. Gotcha, bruv. Remember when Chief and Locke had a nice round of stalemate fisticuffs, even though Chief is, according to lore, like 5 inches taller, inhumanely engineered for war, and a literal multiple time savior of the universe? And let's talk about Buck real quick. In Halo 5, Buck is the comic relief, the goofball if you will. Now I get it, you see Nathan Fillion and it's all haha Nathan Fillion. But if you actually played ODST, you would know that Buck was actually the hard-nosed, gruff military captain. But 343 just had to make him this Quirkmeister Gigglebot. Lore in it, 343. Even more explicitly, Halo's art style has sneakily done a complete 180. Sleek, clean, beautiful silhouettes are now cluttered generic messes. Team Fortress 2 cosmetics type of beat. Look at this stunning, cylindrical, sensual masterpiece of a rocket launcher. Now look at this ugly green blob. Alongside the art, 343 toned down the blood and gore by a factor of 1000, further transforming Halo from a military sci-fi epic to... Side note, did 343 really think that they did something when they made those 3 missions where you just walk around? Oh shiver me timbers, I am so immersed. Regarding the gameplay, 343 new coked it again, except this time they locked themselves in an MLG sweaty boys only echo chamber. Halo 5 is so tryhard all the time. Especially at launch, there were only really ranked playlists, Bye Bye Social Slayer, Team Fiesta, and my beloved Infection. This sweaty DNA is unfortunately built into the gameplay itself. Unlimited sprint and infinite Spartan abilities all push you to sweat to get wet. I will say that the gameplay loop is fun in and of itself, but this sweaty DNA fundamentally changes the Halo experience. Halo 5 does not play like a sandbox shooter. With Halo 3, you could ricochet bullets, you could play with gravity, you could stick plasma swords out of your Spartan booty. There was such an expansive amount of depth to combat, it was nuts. Back in the day, Halo was simple on the surface, but there was such a wealth of physics, of strategy that came with its gunfights. One-on-one duels were almost like super soldier sword fights, Spartan jousting. A stark contrast from trigger-first shooters like COD. Halo 5 reverts Halo into more of that gamified shooter style of gameplay. Not that that's inherently bad, but it's not Halo. This also affects the campaign too. Halo campaigns always created the feeling of the player being one super soldier engaging in open warfare. This was baked into the sandbox gameplay. The Covenant in Halo 3 is my favorite mission of all time. It's just this expansive warfare battle scene which you can approach in so many ways. You can ride a Hornet and attack from the skies. You can hijack a Ghost and go on some cheeky Grand Theft Covenant. You can even just chill on an island with your Marine buddies. The sandbox made you feel like a hero on the battlefield. Even though Scarabs were a bit of a gameplay catfish, they still felt epic to take down because you had choice. You're not just twitching your thumbs. In comparison, 343 gave us Warden Eternal 900 times. With Halo 5, that battlefield epicness ain't there because it feels more overtly like an XXYY shooter. Of course, Halo needs to evolve. I and others aren't arguing for carbon copy games, but Halo 5 isn't a natural evolution of the true Halo experience. It's like we started with a Charmander, then we evolved to a Charmeleon, and then suddenly leapt to a Blaziken. Yeah, Blaziken is still a fire-style starter Pokemon, but clearly the jigsaw piece does not properly fit the puzzle. Most egregiously, Halo has slowly been infected with cynical corporatism. Case in point, the Rec system. What a grindy greed fest of garbage. You play and play and play, all to get some ugly ass armor piece that looks the same as everything else. Oh, but wait, I get all these sick weapons to play with in Warzone. If only Warzone wasn't an absolute snooze fest. Warzone is what you get when you make a game mode specifically designed around monetization. It doesn't enhance the gameplay loop in the slightest. The only war is the war against capitalist greed. The most succinct comparison between old and new Halo I can provide starts with going back to Halo 3 and the hunt for recon armor. If you didn't know, Bungie set up these epic Vidmaster challenges so that any player could earn the coveted recon armor for themselves. These challenges were almost all tough as shit. 4 guys using Ghosts in the final mission on Legendary with Iron Skull activated, surviving Legendary firefight on ODST. These were the kind of challenges to make your plasma sword booty get a boo-boo. I never fully unlocked recon, but I can say that attempting these challenges was some of the most fun I had in gaming. They really created a communal buzz, and if you had recon, it actually meant something. In Halo 5, 343 set up the Achilles Armor Challenge. I actually ended up fulfilling this challenge with my fire team. To unlock the Achilles Armor, you had to grind Halo 5 every fucking minute of your life. 9 million Spartan charge kills, 9 million headshots. Nothing about this was fun, just an unreal grind. To top it all off, the Achilles Armor isn't even the highest level of rarity in-game. Just spit on me, Bill. Kick me when I'm down, why don't you? You have enough money, mate. Relax. You could say that this is just the modern state of gaming, but come on, not Halo. Halo was supposed to be different. How could 343 seriously sacrifice split screen for more particle effects? You know their priorities are wrong when that's the case. Halo used to be the beautiful girl next door, the high school sweetheart, but she went away to the big city and came back with bare plastic surgery. She still kinda resembles the girl you fell in love with, but everything's different, meant to fit some society's stupid beauty standards. Simple, emotive, and atmospheric storytelling is now convoluted fake lore tomfoolery. Satisfying sandbox gameplay got diluted, first by the desire to be COD, then by MLG sweat. And the one franchise that represented community, friendship, and fun is now just about buying some stupid rec packs. The debate behind sprint in Halo was never really about sprint. Of course a Halo game can have sprint in it. The issue was the fact that the devs forced sprint in just for the sake of it, just because every other game had sprint. That beautiful Halo Mega Block set has bit by bit been replaced with shit tier Lego pieces and is now something else entirely. The once honorable almighty king of gaming, Halo, is now limping to irrelevancy. Now we reach Halo Infinite and the future of the franchise. I wanted to love the E3 presentation, but come on now. The graphics legitimately look worse than Halo 3. Yeah, they fixed the MC's armor design, but then they made the brutes look like Play-Doh. Oh lordy, this was supposedly them at their best, them trying to show off Halo Infinite to the world. With a little digging, it's also apparent that Infinite has gone through development hell. I want to have hope, but my brain is telling me to never trust Bill Gates. On a more optimistic note, it does seem that they are returning to a more sandbox style of gameplay. This video took me so long to make that new gameplay for Infinite is releasing in quite literally a few days as of the making of this vid. So, fingers crossed I guess. So, I decided to wait for the multiplayer reveal, and what can I say? Right when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. Speaking on the campaign front, this short cutscene showing Chief space swimming through marine corpses captured more of that classic Halo somber military tone than all of Halo 4 and 5 combined. For the gameplay itself, my analysis that they had returned to sandbox style gameplay seems correct. I am pleasantly surprised. Very pleasantly surprised. The graphics have received a nice bump in quality and are going in the right direction. Worn armor, readable silhouettes, a non-neon particle explosion fest, all good things to see. There are still a lot of question marks though. How will the campaign turn out? Will there be a fully fleshed out package of modes on launch? Will competitive and casual modes be balanced? And most worryingly for me is this dagger of microtransactions held above our throats. I agree that free-to-play is the way to go for the modern market, but come on Bill, I beg you don't leech seed Halo. I gotta say, Joseph Staten, you are a unreal G. It really looks like this legend swooped in after Infinite's E3 presentation and got this ship on the right course. Come on 343, you absolute madman. I'm pulling for you. Please bring Halo home.